The morning sun cast long shadows across my property as I stepped onto the back porch with my coffee. It was supposed to be a peaceful Saturday, the kind where you finally get to those yard projects you've been putting off all week. But as I glanced toward the old root cellar near the edge of my garden, something stopped me cold. The heavy wooden door was ajar. My heart sank. I'd locked that door myself just 2 days ago, when I'd stored the last of my preserved vegetables and my grandmother's vintage canning equipment down there. The cellar had been in my family for 3 generations, a relic from when this land was actually farmland, long before the HOA and their ridiculous rules took over the neighborhood. I set my coffee down and started walking across the dewy grass, my pulse quickening with each step. As I got closer, I heard it. The unmistakable sound of someone rummaging around inside, glass jars clinking together, boxes being moved. Then I saw her. Through the narrow opening, I caught a flash of that signature blonde bob and hot pink athletic wear. Karen Hendricks, HOA board president and self-appointed guardian of neighborhood standards. My jaw dropped. She was actually inside my root cellar, going through my things. I approached quietly, my mind racing. Karen had been a thorn in my side since I'd moved here 2 years ago. She'd cited me for having a garden that was too rustic, complained about my vintage truck being visible from the street, and just last month had tried to fine me for the root cellar itself, claimed it was an unapproved structure, despite the fact that it predated the HOA by about 70 years. But this was breaking and entering. I peered around the edge of the door frame. Karen was bent over a shelf, her phone's flashlight illuminating rows of mason jars. She was taking photos of everything, muttering to herself. "Unbelievable," she hissed. "No permits, electrical violations, probably health code issues too." That's when I understood. She was building a case against me, gathering evidence to shut down my cellar. Maybe even force me to demolish it. The realization hit me like ice water. Karen reached for one of my grandmother's antique canning jars, turning it over in her hands. These are probably worth something. Estate sale violations, storage of valuable items without proper insurance documentation. Something inside me snapped. I moved swiftly and silently, grabbing the heavy door. In one smooth motion, I pulled it shut. The old hinges groaned, and I heard Karen's startled yelp from inside. "Hey! Hey!" Her voice was muffled but panicked. She pounded on the door. "Let me out! Let me out right now!" My hands shook as I slid the old iron bolt into place. The root cellar was solid. Concrete walls, steel-reinforced door. My grandfather had built it to withstand tornadoes. Karen wasn't getting out unless I let her out. "You're on my property." I called through the door, pulling out my phone. "You broke into my private structure. I'm calling the police." "You can't do this." Karen shrieked. "I'm the HOA president. I have the authority to inspect properties for code violations. Not without permission, you don't." I said, my voice steadier now. "Not without a warrant. And definitely not by breaking my lock." I dialed 911, and Karen's protests grew more desperate. "This is kidnapping, false imprisonment. I'll have you arrested. I'll sue you for everything you own." The dispatcher answered, and I explained the situation as calmly as I could. "I have an intruder locked in my root cellar. She broke in and was going through my property. Yes, I'm safe. No, she's not armed. Her name is Karen Hendricks." Karen must have heard me because she started screaming louder. "I'm the victim here. He locked me in. This is a violation of my rights." The dispatcher assured me officers were on their way and advised me to stay on the line and keep my distance from the cellar door. I sat down on an old tree stump about 20 feet away, keeping my eyes fixed on that locked door. "You're going to regret this." Karen yelled, The entire HOA board will hear about this. We'll vote you out of this neighborhood. We'll make your life hell. I think you've already been doing that, I muttered. 12 minutes later, though it felt like an hour, 2 patrol cars pulled up. I waved them over, and 2 officers approached, their expressions somewhere between confusion and amusement. So, Officer Martinez said, notepad in hand, "You have someone locked in your root cellar?" "Yes, ma'am. Karen Hendricks. She's the HOA president. I caught her breaking in and going through my property without permission." The pounding from inside had turned to angry shouting. "Officers, I demand you arrest this man immediately. He's holding me prisoner." Officer Martinez and her partner, Officer Chun, exchanged glances. Martinez approached the door. "Ma'am, I'm Officer Martinez with the county police. We're going to get you out, but I need you to step back from the door." Finally, some sanity. Karen's voice was hoarse from yelling. "Arrest him. He assaulted me. He—" "Ma'am, please step back from the door," Martinez repeated firmly. I unlocked and opened the door, and Karen burst out like a champagne cork, her pink outfit covered in dust and cobwebs. Her face was red, her hair disheveled, and her eyes blazed with fury. "Arrest him. Right now. He—" "Ma'am," Officer Chin interrupted, holding up a hand. "Let's start with what you were doing on this property." Karen's mouth opened and closed. I was conducting an HOA inspection. "Did you have permission from the property owner?" Martinez asked. "I don't need permission. I'm the HOA president. I have the right to—" "You have the right to request an inspection," Chun corrected. "You don't have a right to enter private structures without consent. How did you get in?" Karen's face paled slightly. "The door was open." "No, it wasn't," I said firmly. "I have a lock on that door. Did you cut my lock, Karen?" Her silence was deafening. Officer Martinez walked to the door, examining the frame. Sure enough, my padlock lay on the ground, the shackle cut clean through with bolt cutters. "Ma'am," Martinez said, turning back to Karen, "do you have bolt cutters on you or in your vehicle?" What happened next felt like watching a house of cards collapse. Karen tried to argue, to deflect, to pull rank with her HOA title. But the evidence was clear. The cut lock, the photos on her phone that officers asked to see, the fact that she was caught red-handed inside my private property. In the end, Karen was cited for a criminal trespass and property damage. As the officers took her information and she sat in the back of a patrol car, head in her hands, I felt something I hadn't felt in 2 years of living in this neighborhood. Peace. Officer Martinez handed me a case number and her card. "You'll want to document everything and consider a restraining order if she continues to harass you." As the patrol cars drove away, Karen glaring at me from the back seat, I looked at my root cellar. Still standing, still mine, and now with quite the story to tell. My phone buzzed with a message from my lawyer neighbor, who'd apparently witnessed the whole thing from his kitchen window. "I've got security camera footage of her cutting your lock. Call me." I smiled, picked up my now cold coffee, and headed inside. Something told me the next HOA meeting was going to be very interesting. Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.